What's the impact of the Fernando Tatis Jr. signing? Plus, pitchers and catchers have reported, and there's plenty of storylines from Padres camp. I'm AJ Cassavell, and these are your daily bases. The Fernando Tatis Jr. signing is expected to be finalized early this week. It's yet another statement that the Padres are contenders not only in 2021, but they envision themselves as contenders in the National League West in the long term. Pretty much every move they've made this offseason, from Joe Musgrove, Ha-Seong Kim, to Blake Snell, Yu Darvish, has been with an eye on this season, but also the few seasons that follow that. There's not a single move that better solidifies the Padres' future than locking up the centerpiece of this entire plan for the long term. And so I think the Padres maybe created a little bit of a window for themselves with these trades this offseason, but they envision being competitive long beyond that in the National League West, and locking up your centerpiece, the guy who plays a premium defensive position and has 5 tools and is only 22 years old, locking him up for the long term, that makes the most sense in the world. Pitchers and catchers have reported to spring training, and at this point, pretty much every pitcher has gone through at least one bullpen session, in some cases two. And the most encouraging news out of the first few days of camp is the health status of Nelson Lumet. He spoke with media the other day. He said he feels 100% himself. He says that he was told by doctors that shutting it down would pretty much help avoid surgery, and so far so good. There are still some people in the Padres camp kind of holding their breath, waiting until he gets into game action, waiting until he really starts ripping off some of those sliders. But at this point, things probably couldn't be much more encouraging for Nelson Lumet, considering where his elbow injury was last October. Yu Darvish and Victor Caratini both spoke with the media this week. Obviously, they came over to the Padres together in a trade with the Cubs in December. They clearly have a lot of respect for each other, and they worked extremely well together in Chicago. And manager Jace Tingler said that he's open to having a personal catcher for Yu Darvish, but for the time being in spring training, he's going to give the Padres 2 catching options, Austin Nola and Caratini, and maybe the Padres 3 catching options if you add Luis Campusano into that mix. He's going to give them pretty much even reps with all of the guys, because they need to make sure that every catcher can catch every pitcher in the event of an emergency. So I think it's very possible we see a personal catcher situation with Caratini and Darvish during the season, but don't expect much of that in spring training. And lastly, there are plenty of people who are excited about this Padres season, but maybe no one more than Joe Musgrove, who is a childhood Padres fan and has spoken often since he's been acquired from Pittsburgh about what it would mean to him to bring a championship to San Diego, to his home city. Musgrove changed his number from 59 with the Pirates to 44 with the Padres, and you can probably guess why. He's a fiery right-hander, and his favorite pitcher growing up was Jake Peavy. I'm AJ Cassavell. For all your baseball news, visit MLB.com and watch MLB Network.